Em, can you believe we started Interview Boss in 2021?
Not really. It's insane. That's a lot of episodes and a lot of hours of talking.
Oh my gosh, it is. And if you're scrolling through all of our episodes, you might scroll straight past something that you really, really needed.
Yes, we're always getting messages from people asking us to do an episode on something, and I'm like, we already have.
So we've put together playlists to help you find the episodes that are exactly what you need, suited to your situation.
They're all categorized. If you're applying for jobs, we have episodes about resumes, cover letters, job ads. If you've been offered your dream job, we have episodes on resigning, exit interviews, and how to impress at your new company.
And we even have a very special playlist that's very popular for if you have an interview coming up immediately and you need just our most recommended hard-hitting episodes between now and then.
For all our last-minute listeners. It's all there for you. You can browse by category and check out all the playlists at interviewboss.com.au/podcast. You've been job seeking a long time. You need that security. It's not the end of the world to pull out after you've signed the dotted line. It's not legally binding. They're not going to come and lock you up in jail for pulling out of it. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Interview Boss. My name is Emma. I'm a radio journalist who's teamed up with my sister Sarah to give you advice, inspiration, and support when you're looking for a new job. Sarah is a HR and recruitment professional, and together we're here to give you all the tips, tricks, and behind-the-scenes knowledge to help you thrive in your career.
Oh, Em's had too many coffees today. That's the fastest I've ever heard you do that.
Just trying to blow through it, you know, get to the good stuff.
Yeah, well, welcome back everyone. Who gets a Shoot Your Shot shout out this week?
Adam G. And this did make me think, is this the NRL ref writing into us? For those that don't know, Adam G is a prominent NRL ref.
I have no idea who that is.
Don't you? It's also
I don't think it's him.
It's also State of Origin tonight, which is football in Australia, rugby league. And Adam G is the most top doggy referee that officiates all of the really high games. Think like Super Bowl, but less.
Well, I think Adam G isn't looking for a new job. Probably. I think he's probably in his dream job.
Just letting Adam know that he shares a name with an Aussie icon. Anyway, he might be Australian himself and not give a shit. Anyway, Adam bought us 3 coffees and said, Emma and Sarah, the real bosses. I found your podcast while preparing for an interview for a graphic design manager position. I listened to the entire Prepare for Your Interview playlist and then some. Your advice, confidence, and above all, your humour got me feeling fully prepared. I played my power song, Van Halen's Jump. So Adam has said, stuff your absolutely everybody, Vanessa Amorossi, and said, I'm going with Jump. And I'm here to endorse this. Sarah and I did just listen to it to verify it was the song that we had in our minds before this.
It's the perfect hype up song. Great suggestion from Adam. Maybe we need a Spotify playlist for people.
We've already said this before and then I never got around to making it. So we've already thought of this before and I just never did it.
Maybe I'm feeling inspired today. So I'll start a list of what we're going to add in.
Well, we endorse that. Anyway, Adam played his power song, Van Halen's Jump, and walked into the conference room with confidence. I aced the interview and I got the job. Now I'm going through your How to Resign episodes so I can quit my current job with class, and then the emoji with the dude with the sunnies on. I'm sharing your podcast with everyone I talk to. Cheers to you both and thank you for the amazing content.
Why do you think it's a dude emoji?
It is. When you type in cool dude, that's what comes up.
Ah, is it? Okay. Well, there you go. Shout out to Adam. Love that. We've also had someone who messaged us or bought us a coffee or something recently who said, I must be your only male listener or something like that. No, we have plenty of male listeners. Shout out to our male listeners out there. There's plenty of you, I'm sure. And it's just maybe that they don't write as good shout outs, I think. Yeah. They don't use as many words and so they're not as inspiring, and then we don't choose them for our Shoot Your Shots.
Hey, you make it sound like we're not picking the men. They don't send in as often as the women, but there's plenty of you out there and we love you. So thank you, Adam G.
And if you are not an NRL ref and you, no, that doesn't work. I'm not going to try and make that segue. If you need a little bit of help preparing for your next interview, check out all the support we can give you, interviewboss.com.au/coaching. You can do a one-on-one session with me if you just need a little bit of tweaking and you've got all the basics down, or if you need a full reboot, all the essentials that you need to prepare for your interview, check out the Interview Academy. It's like interview coaching, but every single best idea I've ever literally had all in one place. If you liked one of our episodes, use a tip we sent you, or you want to let us know your hype up song so that we can add it to our playlist when we get around to doing it, slide into our DMs and follow us on Instagram, and maybe we'll give you a shout out.
Today we're talking about turning down an offer or a role. So this can happen if you're interviewing for multiple different positions, and one might come just as another really awesome one comes, and you actually find yourself in a position where you need to actually knock back a couple of offers, or maybe it's just not a good fit.
Yeah, and this can be a really hard thing to do. Em, I think you had a bit of a story about this one.
Yeah, I have someone in my life who was interviewing for 2 different companies fresh out of their study, and they were sort of competitor companies. And he was interviewing for one, got right to the end, got an offer, but around that same time was actually interviewing for the other company, which was probably a little bit more preferred, and ultimately got an offer with that company. So then had to turn down the first company when he was getting really close to probably accepting there. And this company that he was going to turn down was still really great, and he would have happily worked there if the other company didn't come into the picture. And because of the industry that he's in, there's not that many companies that are available. So he wanted to turn them down, but in a, pleasant way where he could still keep the relationship. He doesn't want to burn the bridge and have them feel like he didn't handle it properly. And I think this is common for a lot of people in a lot of industries. They can be small, and it can be people that work at other companies. It's a small sort of field. So you want to go about it in the right way.
Totally. And I love that people are thinking about that. It kind of feels a little bit ironic though. Like if you're a listener of this podcast, you're obviously like trying to get offers. And so like you go from your problem being you don't have enough offers to your problem being that you've got too many. It's just kind of ironic that like it's also a problem when you get more than one and you're like, I wanted this for so long and now I'm like, oh, what do I do with all these other, like you still need more advice.
And it often happens all at once. That is the thing. It will be interviewing, nothing, slogging it out. And then it seems the amount of people that message us and say, now I've got 3 offers. How do I know which one to go with out of A, B or C? Or
deciding is a hard one. Absolutely. And this episode is probably not about like the decision-making process. It's probably more about like, hey, I want to turn something down. How do I do that? How do I kind of handle the whole situation? But we wanted to throw back to one of our, I think, most important episodes we've ever done. It's the power move for juggling multiple job offers. And basically, we'll link the episode below so you can go listen to it in full if you're in this situation. But it's what you should be doing if you've gotten an offer, but you got offered like your second preferred job, and the one that you really, really want, you're still going through the process. They haven't gotten back to you yet. Maybe you've had an interview, maybe you've heard back from them, but like the timing hasn't worked out. And the dilemma is you don't want to turn down the offer that you've got because what if the other one that you really want doesn't come through? Then you'd be left with nothing. But you don't want to say yes to the one that you've been offered because then you have to then go back on your saying yes later. So what we recommend, and people feel like this is illegal and like you're not allowed to do this, but you absolutely should. You would be silly not to do this if you're in this situation, right? So you get the offer. Yep. Okay, cool. I'm so excited. Thank you so much, because you want to make sure that if this other one doesn't come off, you want to make sure that like you were nice to the people who offered you the job. So you want to say, yep, I'm enthusiastic. Can I have a couple of days just to talk this over with my friends and family and just to make a decision? And ask for a couple of days. Like, hey, can I have to the end of the week? Can I have till tomorrow afternoon? Something like that. They will say yes, most likely, and agree on a day. And then this is the power move part. What do you do, Em?
Reach out to the other job and let them know that you have another offer and ask if they're in a position to make you an offer or move forward before the deadline that they initially said. So maybe they said, hey, you'll hear back about this in a week, but you have 2 days to give an answer. So call them up, let them know. I just want to express how excited I am. I loved the interview, loved getting to meet you guys. I did just want to disclose that I am interviewing at other companies and I've actually just received an offer. Is there any way I'm able to know of my outcome ahead of time? Because if it came down to it, I really think I would like to take this company.
Yes, you want to tell them, hey, you are my preferred company. I have got another offer, but this is the job that I really wanted. Is there any way that you could let me know? Because sometimes if you're the preferred candidate and you're the front runner, they can rush forward an offer to quickly get it through or to quickly get you in for another interview that day or something like that, get a phone call happening, get some references, whatever. They will pull out the stops because if they really want you and the only difference is time, they'll make it happen. Then you've got 2 offers and then you can make your decision. You might still go with the first one because maybe it ends up being better in some way and, but it allows you to actually weigh them up side by side rather than just going with the one who got to you first, which is not a good way to make a decision on which job to take.
And on the flip side, if you aren't the preferred candidate, they'd probably have to say something, wouldn't they? Like, oh, yeah, thanks for your time, but it doesn't look like we'll be proceeding. And then in that case, that's closure and to go with the other one and be stoked about it.
Exactly. That's right. And you haven't lost anything because from their perspective, for the first offer, you said, yep, I'm enthusiastic, give me a few days. And then you go back to them and be like, amazing, I'd love to accept, send me the paperwork. So the first job doesn't know any different. All you've done is ask for a couple of days. And you can even do this actually if you want to accept it. Just ask for a few days just to think about it, just to weigh up your options, whatever. Nothing wrong with that whatsoever. And I think everyone should be doing this. Go and listen to that Power Move episode if you want a more of a deep dive. We talk a little bit more about weighing up which one to take as well. Really great episode. So underrated. I think more people need to be doing that out there. So with that out of the way, let's say you are in a different scenario and you don't have 2 offers. How do we turn something down? We've got a few different scenarios. So the first one is we don't actually have an offer yet. We're just pulling out of the process early. So I guess this could happen if you have already received an offer from your favorite company and you don't even need any more information. You're going to pull out. Maybe you've learnt something that you really don't like. Something in your situation has changed. You're just pulling out. Maybe you've had 1 interview, 2 interviews, something like that. What do we do?
If you have accepted something else, wait until you sign the actual contract so you don't get caught.
Yes, that's right. But if you know that you don't want the job that you're still in the process for and you've signed the contract, you should let them know rather than just waiting until they offer you and you're like, oh, well, I've already signed. I actually start next week. You should let them know before they offer you. You know what I mean? Once it's all locked in for you, you should be proactive about that, I think. It is on them to kind of get in touch with you and be checking in to make sure that you're not interviewing and you're still available and all that kind of stuff. But I just think it's the right thing to let them know because imagine you're hiring and you've got these 2 preferred candidates and you're going to reference stage or you're discussing with the manager or something, who are we going to pick? And little do you know, one of them's already signed an offer elsewhere and they just haven't told you yet. That could save you so much time behind the scenes.
And this could sound something like, hi, blank. Thank you for your time in the process. I've really enjoyed learning about the company and the role. After a lot of thought, I've accepted another offer that's better suited for me. I wish you all the best with the rest of the recruitment process. Thank you.
Yep. This could be a phone call.
And you could even mention staying in touch if you'd like to keep the relationship. I'll let you know if my circumstances ever change or I don't know.
Yeah, totally. So let's say in your example that you gave at the beginning, your friend, let's call them Joe. Let's say Joe got offered the great job that they really wanted, but they were still only at a first round interview with the one that was the second best company. Well, this is what you might do in that situation to go hey, thank you so much for the interview process, but I've just been offered something else. It was really great. I'd love to stay in touch. Who knows? We might run into each other in the industry, something like that. Or I really enjoyed talking about this. I'll connect with you on LinkedIn, whatever. Be a human about it. It's okay to kind of pull out of the process, particularly when it's early. Everything else we're about to talk about in this episode is a bit more complicated. When they haven't even offered you that yet, you don't even know where you really stand. You've got literally not even really inconveniencing them. You know what I mean? You shouldn't feel bad about this. You really shouldn't feel bad about pulling out mid-process.
Interview Academy might be the perfect thing you're looking for. Interview Academy is a course Sarah has been working on after delivering hundreds of interview coaching sessions and getting incredible results.
But unfortunately, I'm only one gal living in an Aussie time zone who works a day job, and all of that mean I can't help everyone one-on-one, which drove me crazy.
So for over a year, Sarah's been working on turning all of those amazing lessons into an on-demand, step-by-step interview prep course. We hold your hand through the entire thing,
and you can do it at home in your own time and get instant access right now. Check it out at interviewboss.com.au/interview-academy. The link is in the show notes.
Now, if you're turning down an offer, the offer's been made, like my friend's situation, but you need to turn it down because you've just got something better.
And maybe the power move worked. Oh my gosh, maybe the power move worked and you got the offer, asked for 2 days, got the offer from the better company, and then you've got to turn down the first one. What are you going to do?
You're going to be gracious. We never want to burn bridges. You never know where you could end up. You could get made redundant from the awesome dream company. And because it's a small industry, they're the only place left that is hiring and that's available. You want to be genuine and not be like abrupt, hey, I've got a better offer because they could give me more money, so see ya. Definitely not. And you say to explain very briefly why you chose the other role. Does this apply if they're the biggest competitor and you're kind of rubbing it in like, hey, I went with your only large competitor?
Yeah, but you don't have to say the really bare, honest truth. I chose them because they don't seem like they've got a toxic culture. Like you don't have to say the most awful part, but you could say something like, it was a really tough decision, but ultimately I've decided to take a role that's got more opportunity in the future. Maybe that's the thing. If they're bigger and better, well, maybe they've got more opportunity or that has more mentorship and whatever. Like just pick something and say, hey, here's what it's about. Maybe it was a higher salary offer. Maybe it was more flexible. I think it helps when they've offered you something to say, here's the thing that lost it out. Here's what I was looking for. It helps the recruiter to give you information about, hey, here's why we lost this candidate. Our offer was $30,000 below what they got elsewhere. That can really help them adjust their salary banding and stuff. I think it's helpful.
How would you say that? They offered me 30 grand more. Doesn't that sound a bit intense?
Well, I would probably do this over the phone.
Where the person could be like, oh, may I ask, what was the offer worth? Or
yeah. And look, you could say, hey, I've thought about it and unfortunately I've decided to go with another offer that offered an overall just much more attractive salary package.
Nice. You weaseled your way out of that.
Well, again, you don't have to say these things. I just think it's helpful to put in some reason why you went with the other role. After much consideration, I've just chosen something else. What are you going to say? It's just helpful to say,
yeah, it feels a bit ghosty.
Yeah.
Because a minute ago you were so keen saying, yep, thank you, wow.
Exactly, right? And you've been keen throughout the process. I think it's just helpful to give some kind of a reason of here's what this job had that maybe this one didn't. Oh, it's a lot closer to home. It's something.
Things to consider if you've already accepted an offer, but you want to decline and pull out because of something else. Firstly, the first step to avoid this pickle, if you can help it, is to try and avoid signing that contract if you know that you might change your mind. But we do understand that sometimes you have to do it when push comes to shove. You've been job seeking a long time. You need that security. It's not the end of the world to pull out after you've signed the dotted line. It's not legally binding. They're not going to come and lock you up in jail for pulling out of it.
I mean, it is a legal document. It is. It is.
Okay. I mean, in a jail sense.
I know. Yeah, of course. Yeah. And that's why I say try and avoid signing it, I would say. You can say, yeah, amazing, I accept. And then they send you the contract. Just take a little while to fill out the contract, delay a little bit if you can. So many people do this. It sucks to sign a contract and accept an offer and then pull out. It does. It really, really sucks when you're on the other side because you've started to make plans. You've started to get their email address happening and their computer set up, and it's like you've stopped recruiting, you've rejected everybody else. It's not great, but I just want to reassure you, it happens and you won't be the first and you won't be the last to go through this and to do this process, to pull out after you've already accepted. I do just want to say though, if you're in a position where you're like, oh, well, I want to pull out after accepting, but I don't want to burn the bridge, well, it might burn the bridge. It is what it is. It's not a good enough reason for you to like go and work there just so that you don't upset anyone. Like that's a horrible thing. Like it's literally your life. You're not going to go and accept a job just so that you don't upset anyone. But that is unfortunately what you can end up in that situation. That's why we suggest the power move, so that you can potentially try and avoid this situation in the first place.
So tell them as soon as possible if this does happen is the key takeaway, and explain that you were looking forward to starting, but you've received an offer that you weren't expecting and it's just too good not to take. You should apologise because it is a big convenience, as Sarah just mentioned. And I think, yeah, good to state this wasn't your intention. It was unexpected, so they don't feel like you just led them along for the sake of it. You know, I was ready to start, but this offer blindsided me and I really have to do this for my career. You can't argue with that. Of course, they're going to understand that everyone's going to make the best decision for them.
Exactly. And like ultimately, if you're in this situation, it would be silly to not take the better offer if something else came along. Does that kind of make sense? Like, I just think people feel so awkward sometimes and they consider maybe not taking the other job just out of like being an inconvenience, and like just not wanting to upset anyone is just a terrible reason to like make a decision in your career. It is bad and it does suck, and that's why you should try and avoid it if you can. And if you can accept it verbally without signing anything, that helps as well. Tell them as soon as possible, that helps as well. But at the end of the day, you got to do what you got to do, really, because this is your life and this is your career.
I would like to think that a large number of people probably sign the contracts even when a part of them is unsure, because they've never heard of the power move and they've never heard of asking to take 2 days. Like, you could really realistically draw this out a week and a half. If it's a Thursday that they call you with the offer and you say, can I get back to you on Monday? You get back to them on Monday and say, yep, verbally, I'd like to do it. They're going to take at least 3 or 4 days probably to get a contract to you. Like, in my experience, that's taken a few days. They're, sorry, I've been meaning to get that, just waiting on approval or documents. Then they send it to you. Hey, reply, thanks so much, I've received it. I'll take the next day or two to read over it and sign it. Read over it. You could potentially even let them follow you up of like, hey, how's that contract going? Like, we're talking bordering on 2 weeks here, potentially, without taking the piss. So there's no need to just sign that out of panic straight away.
Yes. And I think that's where all of our advice comes in. If at the end of the day you need to sign it, or you even need to like start and do a week and then leave or something like that, like obviously we're trying to avoid those situations, but it's kind of a hierarchy. If you can avoid verbally accepting and like bring in that other offer before you verbally accept, try and do that. Try and give yourself some space to do that. If you can't and that's unavoidable, try and bring in that other offer and get that signed before you sign the first one. And if you can't do that, try and bring in that other offer before you start at the next one. Do you know what I mean? It's a hierarchy of like how, try and do the best you can. But I think the idea of just going, yep, accept and I'll sign today, when you know you're at second interview with someone else that you would want better, like just try and make it so that we just avoid all of this. I just, the power move. And even, this is the coolest scenario where this can just like change someone's life, this power move. I'm talking it up, aren't I? Imagine that your runner-up job was actually a higher salary offer. So you really wanted this favorite one, but the runner-up one in your mind actually had a higher salary offer. Then you can say to the favorite one, hey, I've got this offer and the offer is X amount of dollars. They are then going to be motivated to beat or match that at least. So like you end up with the best of both worlds.
Yeah, it's a double power move.
Yes.
You've asked them to hurry up and give you an offer, but then you're saying, well, that's not quite as good. It's a double whammy.
That's exactly right. Yep. So you can really, really get the best out of this situation. And like you said, Em, like there is often a period of a couple of days where you can kind of like take your time and review stuff, particularly if they've sent, like I think a lot of companies will send you the contract alongside all the other paperwork as well. So you can be like, oh, well, I just need some more information. I need to track down my super fund. I need to find out my bank account details, whatever. And I'll look up my tax file number or something and take a little bit of time to do that.
And genuinely read it though. Like, you're supposed to read contracts, and if you're working full time, like, you want to give it a proper look. Who's to say that isn't going to take me 3 consecutive days after hours after work to read through every single line, because that's what we all do. So,
and look, like, dilly-dallying is not my favourite thing. Like I said, like, at a certain point you will just have to sign it, or otherwise you might lose both offers. Like, you don't want that to happen. But companies know that if you haven't signed on the dotted line, you're not really, really locked in yet. And even if you are, like, just because you haven't started or whatever, you know, it's not realistic until you start. So, yeah, I think turning down an offer, it sucks. And you can spend all this time and weeks and weeks and weeks hoping to get an offer. And then you're like, damn it, now I have a different problem that I have more than one. But you can use it in your favour.
How the turntables.
How the turntables turn. You were getting knocked back and now you're knocking people back.
There you go. It's a good problem to have.
It is. Good luck out there. Let us know how it goes, and please send in your Hype Up playlist ideas. Thanks so much for listening to Interview Boss. If you like hearing the sound of our voices, hit that follow button on Apple or Spotify, or better yet, tell someone else about the show. That's how we can hit the charts so we can help even more people. For more advice, inspiration, and a supportive community, check us out on Instagram at Interview Boss.
If we've been your job search besties and helped you in some way, there's a cool way you can support the show. Shout us a virtual coffee.
We get a huge kick out of reading all of your success stories. Head to buymeacoffee.com/interviewboss and shout us a cuppa.
If you keep us caffeinated, we can keep the content coming.